Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris Man. As always, thank you for coming to my channel. Per request from one of my subscribers who actually recently purchased the last Tele guitar copy, custom made, that I had for sale. Thank you for the purchase, my good friend. Your guitar has been shipped and actually should reach you Wednesday according to United States Postal Service tracking. And you had a question that you wanted me to give my, I guess, suggestions and recommendations. So I'm going to read the question, then I'll try my best to, give you my suggestions on what should be done. It says, especially if you have something about making your playing sound clean and more precise, as in the technique of the player rather than the amp setting. So that sounds like it's two questions, and I'm going to tackle the first one first. And the first one is basically, how do you get a clean sound? And my recommendations is this, because I've played and had hundreds of guitars, literally. And I've always been attention to detail first and foremost. When I was first starting off playing it at the age of 14, me and my high school buddy, we were real big on a clean sound because we didn't like that muffled sound. So as far as a clean sound, as far as just a real bright, clean, clear sound, you can't go wrong with single core pickups versus humbucking pickups. And humbucking pickups are usually found in Les Pauls or Les Paul copy types of guitars. And the humbucking pickup to me has its own unique, distinctive sound. It's absolutely fantastic for rock music for this reason. Humbucking speakers have pickups have a tendency to hold the note or the sound longer. You know, like when you're playing a rock song, and this is how I kind of discovered or stumbled upon that. It was a Kiss song that I was playing. I forgot the name of it, but you know, with most rock songs, you're more or less playing power fifth chords, power chords. And, you know, and that particular song, you know, Paul Stanley or Ace Frehley, whichever one it was, they would hit the power chord and it would ring out through so many parts of the bar. And when I tried to do that first with my single chord, it didn't ring out long enough before it's time for me to hit it again. So I said, this is why most rock guys prefer humbucking Les Pauls versus single chord finished Telecasters or Strats. You know, so for my personal experience, I lean more towards, since that's the style of music that I play, it's kind of, you know, dance, funk, you know, whatever, that I go with the single chord pickups because you do get a much cleaner sound. And the Fender Stratocaster or the Squier, it doesn't really make a difference which one gives you that sound. And another thing, well, let me just say this before I say that. A big fan of Fender stuff because I love the sound. I think that's why they like Giants. But the problem I have personally with Fender guitars, and it's nothing bad, just me personally, it's something about the way that the neck is made and the bridge and the way that it's set up. It's really kind of hard to play that F bar chord in the first position. And I first thought it was just me. I said, man, maybe just my hands are weak, you know. But I talked to other people and said I had the same problem. But guitarists like Jay Tercer, who I swear by these days, I don't have that problem. You know, there's something about their necks that don't make me feel that way. Because I noticed when I bought my Telecaster, it looked like when it came that somebody just went outside with a chainsaw, cut some wood out, and stuck it onto the body of the neck. There was no coating, no lacquer or shellacking or nothing, you know. And I think sometimes they cut corners like with their, you know, Squier products versus the Fender American made, you know. But just about every Fender that I've had and played, I've had that problem. And when I switched over to Jay Tercer's, the neck I shellacked or lacquered, and just a better neck. It feels better to play. It's smooth, you know. So, you know, if you want that clean sound, you know, you can't go wrong with Fender products. But I would highly recommend Jay Tercer. Also, which is something that most people just kind of don't think about, but it makes a world of a difference. Change your strings. Change your strings at least once a month. Because when I was growing up, strings were expensive, especially bass strings. It was like 4 strings for $40. So you had the choice to do the poor man's new strings, go in there and boil them, you know. But guitar strings now, you know, the lead guitar strings, they're like $5 or $6 on eBay now. And a lot of people ask me, what strings do I use? Ernie Ball, Slinky, Gauge 8. I try to get the lightest gauge possible because for me, again, personally, if it's lighter gauge, you can kind of bend those notes and those strings go back and forth versus gauge 10. They ain't hardly going nowhere, you know. It's not slinky and it doesn't feel good to play because it's just real rigid and stiff, the strings, you know. So again, it's amazing just changing your strings how your guitar sounds much better, much cleaner. Because one of the first comments I used to get when I first started posting my stuff was, "Man, how do you get such a clean sound?" And I've been again always attention to detail as far as I want my guitar to sound real crisp and clean, clear, not muffled, and you know just not sounding good. So those are the recommendations, you know, that I would suggest. Change your strings, kind of look into single chord pickup guitars versus the humbucker, and I think you will get that. You will achieve what you're trying to achieve as far as the real natural clean sound. Now, as far as you said, you know, and more precise, what brings accuracy and precise is just practice. I mean, you just got to keep practicing. The more you practice, the more precise you become. You know, because at first, when you first start, and everybody goes through this, unless you're just something special, you know, you're trying to form bar chords, and when you finally form that bar chord and you hit that chord, you know, it's all the strings are not ringing and they're muffled, and you know, you're not giving enough evenly pressure on each string to make it, you know, when you hit those chords note by note, it's real clean and distinctive. So again, that precise thing comes from just practicing and getting a good guitar that feels good under your fingers, because that's really important. Because the emphasis to me, and this is my sequence, it got to feel good to play. Then it got to sound okay or sound good, which I can, you know, clean that up in the mix. And it got to look good. And look good is the last, you know, priority. Of course, you want something that appeals to the eye, but those are the priorities in the sequence that I do, because it don't make a difference if you got a $2,000 guitar that feel like shit to you and you can't play it and your hands are hurting after one song. What is the purpose? You know, so my emphasis again is low action, slinky strings that I can bend back and forth, and it just feels good to play up and down the neck, regardless if I'm up on the first fret or down here on the 15th. You know, it still feels good and I can play it. You know, so I can't stress that more. You know, as far as getting a guitar that has a pretty good setup. You know, because you can easily take your guitar to Guitar Center or Sandmaster or whatever, or Guitar Maker, and just tell them that you just want it to feel good to play, where it ain't hurting you, and you know, you dread that dreaded F chord. You know, I'm up here for a couple of bars and my hands are killing me. You know, and it doesn't take a great deal of money to achieve that, because I told you guys, as far as my guitars, I've had hundreds of them, and I don't think I've paid no more than about $300-400 tops for my guitars. Because I've had one guy, you stop playing them cheap knockoff guitars. Ain't nothing wrong with Jay Tersa. The only difference between Jay Tersa and Fender is Fender got a much bigger budget to work with, and they can pay for advertising when actually you're paying for it. That's why the guitars are so high, you know. But I learned a long time ago, don't be a part of that ridiculous mindset that you got to be like everybody else and spend a whole lot of money because you think that that's what's going to make you a better guitar player. It's nonsense. You know, you're wasting your money. And I don't believe in wasting my money. You know, I really don't. You know, like I told you, there are a lot of great guitar makers out there that are extremely economical, and their guitars feel good and they're well put together, because this is a great era to learn a musical instrument, especially guitar, because most musicians my age can attest to this. When we were first growing up, all our guitars, the first guitars we ever got, was garbage. And here's a couple of reasons why they were garbage. First of all, the people that bought them for us were most likely our parents, because my big brother was elected to go buy my first guitar. You know, my mother gave him the money and they went. And my brother knew nothing about guitars. He just knew he better go get the cheapest guitar he could find and put it in my hands. And that's exactly what he did. You know, but now, you know, for fast forward 20, 30 years later, you can go to a music store yourself and say, hey, I'm a beginner. You know, hook me up with something that feels good and it's not going to burn my pockets. And they can do that for you. You know, because the first guitar I had was Tasco. And it was garbage. You know, the action was so high I could stick my fingers in between the string and the fretboard, you know. And it kind of took off like a rocket, because at the top fret, it was kind of high. And then it just kept getting higher and higher. By the time you get to the 15th fret, it was way up off the fretboard like that. You know, so they don't really make junk guitars like that anymore. I mean, you can find them with the accent jacked up, but for the most part, Even the real cheap guitars are better than the ones that we had 40 years ago. But I'm going to sign off now. I hope that this video has been helpful. But again, single coil pickups, change your strings, and as far as the amp settings, where like you said, instead of rather than the amp settings, as far as the amp settings, no two guitar setups are going to sound the same, because even if you use the same preamp or amplifier, just they don't. So I don't really get into that big time, because I've had people ask me, what's your setting? To be honest, I don't know. I just turn on my guitar, turn on my preamp, and go through some of my presets that are pretty good, and I play. I'm not trying to create a different preset and, I'm going to create this new sound. Like, the guys that do this for a living, and they damn good at it. I'm not, so I rely on them, and my only focus should be on playing the guitar instead of trying to worry about how it was built, the wood nonsense. I'm going to create a Frankenstein guitar. I'm going to spend $200 on guitar, then spend $400 on modification. Now, to each his own. There's some people that love to, fix on old cars. And I think that's the same mindset with those other people. But I just can't see myself going behind a professional guitar maker, because I think I could do it better. I mean, it's just nonsense to me. It's like, they do good what they do, and I do good what I do, and what I do is just play the damn thing. I'm not trying to, put bridges on it and put pickups on them, take these pickups out. To each his own. But, that's just not my thing. I don't want to spend no more time than not necessary on things other than playing the guitar, But that's my opinion. And until next time, take care, and thanks for watching.